So I saw that they're trying to bring back a couple. Well, one is an iconic show to me. You could say the other award show is iconic based off, we'll say 3 Stacks and Biggie them and Snoop and all that. But there's a company that's trying to bring back Yo MTV Raps. It's not going to be on MTV, but the format will be the same. And then also, they're saying the Source Awards are going to come back as well. It says hip hop needs its premier awards show back. And this is Londell. Let's see, L. Londell McMillan is the current CEO and owner of the Source. So at every award show, our social media at the Source explodes. So backed by popular demand is the statement that he released. So you think about the Source, and you think about whatever said show for Yo MTV Raps, whatever the format's going to be for that. In my opinion, man, I'll throw it around toss it around the room to see what you guys think. I don't know how that's going to be received in 2021 based off how everything is done now, especially more towards the Yo MTV Raps. Do you guys think there's a lane for that, a pocket for a show where, you go back to the interview sit down format and maybe have some people perform in this era where attention span is like 20 seconds? Like, what do y'all think about that, man? Like, do you think people will embrace this concept and this might be a new wave online? I'm cool on the Source Awards because I don't know what that's going to be like. I never really was on the Source Awards like that anyway. You can talk about that too if you want, but I'm going more along the lines of the Yo MTV Raps reboot. What do y'all think about that, man, in today's era of the small attention span? Terry, I'll come to you first. What do you think?
I mean, I think it could work. You have all kind of shows on YouTube where people sit down with an artist, Vlad, of course. You have Nori. You have at Joe. He does his Instagram show now where he sits down and interviews artists or whatnot. They're just not adding that video format to it. So that's where I think
talking over.
Yeah, I mean, you already know Nori doing a lot of talking over. Fat Joe do the same thing too, but
Fat Joe might be worse than Nori. I might owe Nori an apology low key, but go ahead.
It might be neck and neck with them. But, as far as the, I think it's about time for the new generation to see what Yo MTV Raps format was about. Also, there's no actual video shows. Like MTV and BET don't really show videos. All the videos are on YouTube now. So it would be kind of cool to see a format like that where they're interviewing an artist, they're showing videos, doing a countdown per se. As far as the Source Awards are concerned, it would actually make more sense for 𝗏𝗀 to have an award show versus the Source, because the Source has not been the source
since when?
Speak for hip hop in, I don't know, a long time, and nobody fucks with Benzino like that. I don't know if he still owns the Source.
No, he's
I don't know if he's still a part of it.
For like 50. It's bad. That's like 15, damn near 20 years ago. I remember, maybe not 20, but like when I first moved here to Indy, and that's been about 15 years ago. I remember seeing, I want to say Pimp C on the cover of the Source, and it said at the top 100% Benzino free.
Well, damn.
So there you go. It's been more than a decade he's been gone.
Shows you how long it's been since I've actually paid attention to the Source.
So he's associated with.
What'd you say, Long?
He's always associated with it, though.
Yeah, like the Benzino will always be associated with that mug, but I don't know why I was thinking it was a little bit more recent than that. But that's good call on that, Jay Moore, because I didn't know it was that long ago. Because I ain't really.
I mean, the Source don't even have a good online presence either. Like when I think of hip hop, I think of OK Player, so to speak. Well, myself personally, when I think of hip hop on the internet, OK Player and Complex. So if they're not covering it at this point in time, then it really doesn't make sense from a magazine point of view. 𝗏𝗀 has exceeded Source as far as popularity. So
the Source hasn't really been shit for a while. I remember I got a write up in the Source like less than 10 years ago, and it was
stun on them then real quick, Long. Stun on them real quick then. Talk to them.
But it was like, yeah, that's neat. It wasn't even like one of the better ones, It was just like the website, everything's turned into like too many ads, less about the music, more about the trying to hold a little bit of clout in the space anymore. To Terry's point, like Complex and OK Player and Two Dope Boys still, you know.
I mean, the Source mics used to be. There was a time when people used to look forward to
before
the mic ratings. Like y'all, you're right. That used to be it, boy. Now it's like, you know, I don't know if anybody would care, man. But it'd be I'm more curious about the MTV Raps piece or quote unquote remake, just because you got to get the right people to do that, man. The right personalities and all that shit has to work, man. You can't have two people that's. I don't want academics doing it. Like
we've talked about trying to do so. We've talked about trying to do something similar, but the problem you run into is copyright issues. You know, it's hard. It's hard to do a Yo MTV rap thing from a streaming platform just because everything will get blocked. So if a platform comes out or if it's going to have to be something kind of lucrative in the sense of, you know, broadcast somewhere, you know, rights paid for and stuff like that. So that's why we haven't seen anything like quite like that on the internet yet.
Yeah. And I'm completely separating it from, you know, the old show. Like, I don't think any of that matters. I don't think any of that will cross over. I don't think it's about that. I'm just curious about the actual platform working and where it would actually work, because we just know everybody's attention span is so short now. Hell, mine's become so short because it's just the era that we in now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see. But as for the Source Awards, like y'all said, like, I don't know. I'm trying to see what the chat said. I think it was, let me see. Dono said, if I'm not mistaken, he said, I don't care about the people saying they don't care about the awards show, including me. He said it will work. And I said, you think so? He said, yes, it will work if they do it right. The current generation loved some nostalgia factor. Okay.
So Amazon will lock down music licensing for Twitch soon. I actually don't think that they will. Amazon actually doesn't really care much about Twitch. So we can talk about that after the show. But the DMCA stuff is actually something that I'm really kind of up to date on, and Amazon's investment in Twitch is extremely low. Oh, but anyways,
I see when Metallica actually performed here recently. It's ironic that their stream got muted for DCMA.
What?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah,
they got their
the Wild West right now.
Performance muted. Yeah, and they're the ones that pretty much spearheaded this shit back in Napster days. You know what I'm saying? For those that remember, they were one of the artists that were highly involved in locking that Napster music sharing stuff down. And look what it's doing now.
At one point, they tried to really make it out to be the bad guys, but I never saw them as that. I was like, yeah, you know, especially having friends who are artists, you know, and this is before there was a streaming era. There was no streaming. You know, if you appreciate my art, like there are people who are like, oh, music should be free. No, like vaccines for sick children should be free. You know, food for homeless people should be free. Like, if you want the new Metallica song, you should have to buy the new Metallica song. Like everybody's like, well, they're already rich. I was like, yeah, but there's a lot of artists who came behind them that weren't already rich, who were screwed over by this system where and unfortunately the music, you know, the music labels, instead of trying to actually figure something out, they were just like, well, we'll just shut down all these networks. And it just evolved into LimeWire or BearShare or whatever it is that you use to, you know, to steal music. And I'm not going to act like I didn't do it myself, but
we all did it.
You know, but
we all did it. Lone taught me.
You know, I just hate the fact that like the artists who didn't want you to steal from them, from the work that, you know, they had to pay an engineer, they had to pay for the studio, they had to pay, you know, vocal arrangers and producers, and then you're upset that they don't want that art given away for free.
Yeah,
like
I'm not even mad at
cool on.
That makes sense. I just thought it was funny that happened to them based on how they stood and the stance they took, which was important and it made sense. But it still was funny to me that their music was muted while they were playing it live. It wasn't even
definitely.
They were sitting down playing the songs. They were playing it live.
Yeah,
but I also think just to go back to actually, the what we were talking about. I don't think the Source Awards will work just because the branding for the Source for this generation, and I know it's not all about just this generation, but they don't care about the Source. The Source hasn't been on the stands in I don't know how long. XXL used to put out a maybe 3 or 4 issues a year, but now I don't even see them in print anymore.
When's the last time I looked at the stand? That's my question. When's the last time I looked at a newsstand?
So when you're talking about these brands and how they're viewed in the public consciousness, like we remember XXL when it came out every 3 or 4 months, and that was a big deal, and the competition they had with the Source. But if you're 19, you don't care about either of these brands. In the BET Awards, I think are the hip hop award show at this point with the ciphers and everything that they've meant to the culture. So that's been more recent. You'd have to do something really great to kind of take on that particular branding. As far as the MTV raps, nobody. First of all, everyone gets their interviews, from, I think Terry brought up Vlad TV or Smalls or anybody who stops by the Breakfast Club. As far as, and also, the people who do put out videos, there used to be a thing called standards and practices that you had to adhere to, as far as like, okay, you can only have so much ass shaking. You can only show people, you can't show guns. You can't, somebody smoking, we'll blur it out if somebody's smoking weed or if there's a weed leaf on. Like, these kids have been making music videos that go directly on YouTube, and they're not, as long as it doesn't violate anything that YouTube is upset about, and they can put that, are you of older than 18 banner on it. So these kids don't care about having their songs played on MTV or BET or Friday night videos. Nobody does it for that anymore. Maybe let me look at it. MTV, maybe BET jams or BET, like if you got the real good cable. But once again, most people don't pay for cable anymore. So you're talking
curation has changed, right? Curation has changed.
Curation has changed.
So at this point, unless because I know the Paramount Plus thing, like the only thing I'd like to see on Paramount Plus as far as if you could put some of them old episodes up from the 90s, I'd like to see some of those performances. But once again, that's a rights management thing. But I don't want to. A new Yo MTV Raps. These kids don't know what it is to come home after school and watch videos for an hour. I don't think it's going to be that's my question. Like, I don't think. Take the Yo MTV Raps, old Yo MTV Raps out of it. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the new version of that would be and how they would spin it towards this generation. That's my question. It's called there is nothing. It's called your YouTube playlist. And as far
so that's just it. That's just it. Okay, that's fair.
If I want to watch a bunch of young littles for an hour, I can set up my playlist, and I don't have to worry. If I pay the $5.50 a month, I don't have to worry about commercials. I don't have to sit through some interview by some artist I don't care about. I can just go ahead and watch the music videos I want to see on demand. This is an on-demand culture. I don't ever watch anything live. Like, I watch everything on Hulu. Like the next day, that's fine. I watch it at my leisure.
Right. And to Jay's point, the or is it's curators have changed, and I already mentioned this, but it's like people aren't dependent on channels like that. The only maybe a specific channel where they want to follow music because when I say channel, all right. So if you go to Bringing On the Band, you're going to hear a specific type of hip hop. There are people that curate Spotify playlists. There are people that curate specific things like that. But as far as like something that is real, I don't know, man. I think it would have to be catered toward the older generation, our ages and older, for it to really pop off and be a thing for people to really care about. Unless if there's not any type of social media clout involved in it. Like I just don't see it working. But anyways,
well, I mean, we'll see. Like that's the thing about it. Like I
think it might have a chance. It might have a chance as far as I I definitely agree with it being after school. Maybe might not be a good time slot, but it may be something that comes on prime time now. It may be something that comes on in the evening at nighttime where they're actually showing a video show. They have a host or whatnot, and whatever format they use. I think it could possibly work. I don't think it's a dinosaur to where it's
I do
dead format. I don't. That's why I had the idea of possibly doing it myself. But only the thing that backed me down from doing it was pretty much copyright laws. But I think people would tune in to see certain things as long as the format and as long as it's enjoyable and set up the correct way.
It depends on the format, though.
I'm 50-50.
It depends on the format. No, like in the same way that Egon in Ghostbusters 1 said print is dead, right? TV is dead.
Definitely.
Like, people are still watching television, but the way that we viewed television from 10, 20 years ago, it's just not a thing anymore. Like, everything is on demand. It's based upon what we want when we want it. So if it's a television Netflix series, maybe. If it's a online show on Twitch or YouTube or some other platform, I think maybe. But as far as like something that airs on the television show, like a MTV Raps used to be, or I could be wrong, but
I don't see it being a
and not reaching the younger generation. I guess.
So one of y'all mentioned clout. Like, however this works, that's going in this era, that's going to have to be involved. Like, there's going to have to be some form of clout that's involved for these people to even do it, to make it worth their time and to make it pop, because this generation is built off clout chasing.
Definitely. So that was part of the reason people wanted to go to, like, let's fast forward to like a 106 in Park or a Total Request Live. The lure of being on those shows was for TRL was being seen in that studio with the big wide open windows where you could look down and see all these kids in the street.
Right.
Just trying to get a glance at their favorite artist. 106 in Park was more the location. We're located in the heart of Harlem, studio full of Harlemite kids that are pretty much setting the standards and dance and shit. They're in the audience. You know, it kind of was the place to be, so to speak. So it would definitely have to be something centered like that is, or around something like that, to where that would catch people's attention, so to speak.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.